terms of reference when I did a letter to the CS, ICT, because they are competent in that area. They have experts, and really where we had a problem was not in the entire exam as such. We only had a problem on data transmission, and that's why I want answers on that. He has been able to appoint a team. The team has not been able to complete the work as given in our terms of reference, and immediately the report is out, I will be able to share that particular information with this particular committee honorable chairperson, and also with the Kenyans, so that they can be able to know what really happened. Lessons learned, yes, I can say as CS have run the lessons, because basically you can see as a ministry, as NEC, everything was right. Here is somebody we can call an outsider who now was given the contract, but did not really conform and do to the required standard. And of course, moving forward, when we release the KCPE examination, it means we will not be able to make use of the same service provider. It means that with technology, I'm already engaging ICT. We see whether we can be able to develop a website that the members of the public can be able to access free of charge without even paying 1 shilling or the 25 shillings. So when we release our KCPE anytime soon, we will either do away with SMS, but we will be able to do another platform all the same. But the school portals, that is the most reliable source, because immediately the results are actually transmitted to the school principals, and the parents can be able to obtain the results from their respective schools. So even if we come up with an alternative system where, again, parents will be able to access that particular information, is something that I would really like to be convinced and persuaded that it will not also get into technical hitches the way we had in this particular one. If you allow me, Chairperson, only to comment that Kenya, and you know the procedure that we have not terminated anybody's contract. I would like to clear the air that nobody's contract has been terminated. Actually, exams each and every year, a contract is made. Each and every year. So 2016, there was a contract awarded. 2017, a contract awarded. 2021, 2022, 2023. And Kenya not being an exception, because we are within the region. What is it that is happening regionally? What is it that is happening in Africa? We are exams here, and the procedure that was followed was right, and I want to assure the one that did for 2023, it is done on an annual basis. So we don't give somebody for 2 years, 3 years. It will again follow the same process next year. And again, if you look at the Procurement Act, the same that has been applying before the other years is the same that applied for this year 2023. And I will like to comment, and the experts will comment on that. What was lingering in your minds was the same that was also lingering in my mind. That yes, it is multiple choice. It is something that the answer is absolute, like mathematics. Probably the teacher must have taught that topic so well, such that the pupils are giving the same answer. But again, we are dealing with 28,533 schools. We are dealing with a candidature of 1,514,000. Such that we have supervisors, Honorable Chairperson, we have invigilators, we have security personnel in each and every such school, and we have certificates where they sign. cited in each and every school. They say there was no cheating, there was no malpractice. So when I get this, sometimes you might say there is some kind of circumstantial evidence, but is it really enough for you to convict? Is it really enough for you to say, yes, here there was something that we require to cancel this particular exam? And when you look at the percentage of this, even taking into other years, is there an exception this year? Because you get that we have the same occurrence as few schools getting identical marks even in other years, as we have been able to provide in this answer. But again, as I've said, the technical officers will be able to come into that. I will now specifically, with your permission, Chairperson, around my officers, I will be pointing to them. Dr. Otieno, can you be able to, the ICT, where is Otieno? I want you to answer, because you are an expert in that, this particular issue and all the issues raised on SMS, because I think, yes, Otieno.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and CS. I want to respond on the issue of the SMS, and just wish to confirm that we issued the service provider with the format that was required for the data in Excel format. And then, apart from that, we also gave a sample of the text message, the way it was expected to be appearing. Prior to when these results were to be announced, we also did some stress tests, and basically stress test involves making sure that the systems are robust enough to be able to accommodate all the requests that are going to come across from all the clients, across all the service providers that we are going to use in terms of the mobile network operators. We also ensure that we did integration testing between the mobile network operators and the service provider, and this was okay. The other issue that I also want to raise to the attention of the members is that normally we don't issue the live data to the service provider a day or two before. We usually issue this data because of security concerns just some hours before the start of the ceremony, because we've had occasions in the past where we've issued the data before, and this was exposed even before the minister released the results. And therefore, for security reasons, we just make sure that we give this data on time to avoid such kind of incidences, because they can be very embarrassing when the CS is announcing the results and then there are people out there who are already celebrating that they have gotten the results from wherever it is. But Chair, I just wish to confirm that we did all this just to confirm that we could be able to deliver effective SMS service with the service provider. Thank you.
Otieno, probably you can be able to cover the 25 strings as requested by the Member of Parliament from Mukwen, whether there was enough time, because he says the contract was awarded in September, and whether there was the necessary due diligence followed so that we cover this area before going to another area. Please answer all the questions.
CS, if you allow me, I can ask the person who is in charge of supply chain management, Mr. Nicholas Mangata, to respond on the issue of...
The ICT officer, the question was on the cost of, one of the questions was on the cost of SMS. Okay. And our colleague here said that it was 1 shilling. Okay. That's what the market rate, and we were being parents were being charged 25 shillings.
I can respond on that.
Can you respond on that, please? Yeah.
On the issue of SMS, there are normally different services that are offered by the mobile network operators. There are what we call the bulk SMS, which is relatively very cheap, and this involves basically sending a message to very many people. Take, for instance, if NEC wants to communicate with all the sub-county directors, then we'll use the bulk SMS to communicate this message. However, for a service like this that we're using on SMS, it is what we call a premium service. And premium service is different from bulk SMS service. And that one is normally charged at a higher rate compared to the bulk SMS. And therefore, it cannot be, the two cannot be compared because there are two different services that are being offered. Thank you.
Chair. Chair, on the same issue of the cost, I would like to know, because it seems the service, the SMS service, did not serve its required and intended purpose. Do you intend to refund the monies that were used by parents in sending those messages? Some parents were sending messages for 6 family members, were sending close to 1,000 messages on the same request because of the problems that were purposed and were caused by you yourselves. And also I would like to know who is to take the blame here, because all this process, and you're saying you have verified, you did verifications, brief verifications. Who failed or slept on his job? That is very important.
Thank you. With your permission, Chair, I would ask the Chief Executive Officer NEC to answer that.
Is it? Not. You have. Oh, that's officer. What the issue?
Thank.
Order.
Yes, Chair. People X who got sign language results and did not do sign language, they charged the parents. First, the results are wrong. Secondly, double jeopardy by being charged money for wrong results. What happens to these people?
Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. I think for this one, as we indicated, we have written to the telcos to confirm to us what they indicated, that no one was charged for error messages. So they will send to us a written confirmation that no one was charged, and that if anyone was charged, the refunds will be made. In 2018, we had a similar problem with the SMS service, and Safaricom refunded all the persons who had those error messages. The second issue around this is to indicate that there is the forensic audit that the CS has said will be done. So until we get that forensic audit report from the experts, we will only be hypothesizing and saying what happened. So I think it's not a fair, Chair. We allow the forensic audit experts to come up with their report. It's very independent. It has been sent to the Ministry of ICT. And that way, we too will have the benefit of knowing the real issues that happened around this transmission. Thank you.
You will provide this committee with the refund statement from the service provider.
Also, Chair, can we know the timeline?
Chair.
Order,
Chair.
Yes.
Can we know the timeline for the forensic audit?
Yes. Chair, because...
My question has already been answered.
Honorable Nabi, you're completely out of order. Yes, the member for Nairobi.
Chair, we wanted to know the timelines, because this issue of the departments being told that it has been sent there and then it takes forever.
Yes.
Chair,
Yes.
we are tired of this.
Order. Yes. On CS gives this committee.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman.
A commitment, more specifically on the timelines, because these are
don't be tired. I'm very, very concerned about it, and that's why the first assignment I did was to do a letter, because I wanted the experts to tell me what really happened, what really went wrong. I think Chairperson, 14 days can do, so that with my colleagues in ICT, I think they should have been able to produce that report in 14 days.
Chair. Yes. Chair.
Yes, on the follow-up?
I follow up on the forensic audit. Remember, I'm the one who asked about the forensic audit.
The issue, yes.
Yeah, Chair, thank you very much. I think, thank you, the CS for your answer.
Look forward to the question so that we... Time is up.
Yeah, the CS has indicated that the forensic audit is just zeroed in on the SMS because he thinks the entire exam did not have any problem apart from the SMS. But I would like to tell the CS that the public out there think that the SMS is just a tip of an iceberg, and that the SMS is just symptomatic of a wider rot in the exam systems in this country. And to allay these fears and settle the worries, what would the ministry lose if we expand the scope of this forensic audit to include, among others, candidates declared who would never sat exams, the unregistered candidates allowed to sit exams, why some previously good students performing very well have done very poorly in this exam, and vice versa, and why why schools and parents and candidates over-relied on SMS and not the NEC portal, if the NEC portal was functional.
Thank you. I think you have another assignment on that, CS, more so the expanded forensic audit. The reason why I'm giving you that direction is because our standing orders are very clear on the questions you are given. So as you are going to answer the SMS and the others, kindly give us a detailed information capturing what the Honorable Member has just said. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
I think last question, yes.
Maybe, Chair, just a matter of concern, Bwana Waziri. So much has been raised about this SMS issue. Maybe we'll be interested to know how much has NEC received as a result of the SMS. The report tabled was that to last year, 2022. 2023, as Honorable Mkunja has mentioned, you may find that a single family may send 5 SMSs. I live in Nairobi. Avadlana, I want to know. The mother is somewhere else, the sister is somewhere else. So you may find that one family can send close to 5. Now, how much did Kenya NEC receive from this SMS coding that has gone wayward? And two, Bwana Chair, I don't know, going by what has happened, Bwana Waziri, would it be in order for us to demand that all the money received be refunded back to parents? Because these people who are outsourced or contracted did not meet the obligations, because the problem we are having is a result of wrong SMSs. How do we remedy the parents? Can we therefore say, if you raised 100 million, can we return it all to the parents? I don't know.
Yes, CS.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I think there was a question from Honorable Cherusa about the image. What we are doing first is to inform and tell people the facts, the truth. The Bible says, the truth shall make me free. Of course, with social media and our tendencies, our habits, Honorable Chairperson, with permission, you know, sometimes falsehoods sell more than the truth. And with social media, you can be able to imagine the kind of problems we get into, because you find social media is so much ahead. And when you provide the true facts, and we request the media to assist us in this, because really it doesn't pay, it doesn't assist the country when what we are propagating is not based on the facts but mere issues which can be established. They can come to us like anything. We give them the true facts. We are honest. We are forthright. But I would ask the CEO, number 3, Ivo Bara, on manual marking, whether there is issues where the machine can detect, and registered candidates, and they will be able to combine that with the Member of Parliament, the question from the Member of Parliament, my friend Curious from Wigembe, the queries handled, what nature of issues, how they were resolved, what they were genuine, and how these others are unresolved, what is the way forward. CEO, before we proceed to another question.
Thank you very much, CS and the Chair. On the issue of the marking, I think we took the members through the machine scoring yesterday. And as you saw, the machine, once you feed the OMR sheets into the machine runs very fast. Now, if you remember when the candidates were doing the rehearsals, and I was out in the field, we were out with the media, what I kept explaining to the candidates is that that OMR sheet, since it will be run by a machine, you have to make sure you don't fold it. Because the moment you fold it and you are running it on that machine, then it becomes rejected. So you have to run it again. Those who are with us in JKF, you remember that when you put it again, it was recognized and there was no problem. So in the process of running, you will obviously get some scripts that will be rejected. But once you run them again, after you straighten it, then it is read. The candidates who had to do the manual marking, I think it became a policy of government that since this is the last KCPE, it was only fair that if a candidate, for whatever reason, had not been registered, you provide them with an opportunity to sit for the exam. And you know, every year, I am sure in your constituencies, you hear of schools that fail to register a candidate. There are always letters that come to me that say, oh, this candidate had disappeared, had dropped out of school, but now they have come back. By the time you submitted the data to the printer so that they can print the OMR, because the OMR is personalized to every candidate, as you saw yesterday. The candidate's features are on that OMR. So if that candidate had not been captured during registration, it therefore means that the only recourse you have is to allow them to sit for the examination on the question paper. Now, if the candidate sits for the exam on the question paper, then it means, therefore, that the marking will have to be done manually. The question of the queries.
Proceed so that we can answer. Yes, proceed.
Okay, thank you. The question of the queries are usually different. As we explained in the press release that we did on the 25th, on that Friday, after releasing the exam, there will be candidates who immediately, like the case of this girl in Kakamega, she was featured in the newspapers. Immediately we release the results. Apart from the candidates, we continue to look at those results. And when the candidate or a teacher sends that distress signal to say, I am seeing a mark here which is telling me there could be a problem, then we go and query the system. And when you query the system, if we find, as we said, that you are integrating the results for objective and composition, or Kiswahili objective and the Insha, or social studies and religious education, and in the course of that integration, maybe the mark was not captured, then we correct that, and we issue the candidate with the correct results. Because remember, all examination boards in the world, including even universities, what you get either as a transcript or a result slip is always provisional until you are issued with a certificate. The rules are very clear that those results are provisional and they are subject to amendment in the event that you discover there was an error that happened anywhere along the way. So these queries are varied, and why sometimes you are finding these numbers are very high is because some of these gaps, they come up as a result of, at the point when the candidates are submitting their OMR sheets. Like one case I was explaining, I think, to one member of parliament, where a candidate, after sitting for the science assessment, the OMR sheet, instead of submitting it to the invigilator, the candidate put it inside the question paper. I'm sure anybody who has been a teacher can tell you that that is possible. So we were looking for these OMR everywhere. We can't get it. Now, remember, we have 1.4 million candidates who have sat for the exam. So it is 1.4 million multiplied by 5. So that gives you a very big number. Now, when you're looking for this OMR, you can't get it until someone says, why don't we check in the question papers? You go to the question paper and you find the OMR was put inside the question. So in the meantime, there is a lot of distress with that person. And they are raising queries on why they are. So there are so many different reasons why you may have these gaps. And I think yesterday we even explained about stubborn gaps. And some of them in the past have led to very worse crises. Remember in 2018, when we had a case of results released for a dead candidate. It was because of this kind of stubborn queries, and you must make sure you address them conclusively. Otherwise, you'll end up with the wrong results out there. I think that's what the CS had asked me to respond to now.
Chair, what the CEO is not telling us, my question was specific. Just that you have revised the complaints. Were there genuine complaints or they were wrong complaints? Because personally, this thing is far from over. I have a case from a school, from my constituency. We know there were issues of Kiswahili where you have Insha, and the grammar part of it is not there. People complained. We need to know whether those complaints were genuine or wrong. Because you are telling us they were revised, you are giving us scholarly arguments, you are not telling us the truth. You don't want to be specific. And if you don't want that way, I believe maybe we can rest at that point.
Thank you, Chairman. If I can assist my CEO.
I want you to exhaust the question so that you answer one.
If I can assist my CEO in that.
CS, just be patient. Something from Eve, so that we finalize.
Chair, I was a bit concerned on this unregistered candidates, because the report I got from one of the markers was that there were two sets. There was one that was the sheets that were rejected by the machine, and then there were these ones of candidates who were not registered. How did you identify these candidates who are not registered? Where did they come from? That is my question. Did you call out to Kenyans and say that this is the last KCPE? Can you please submit? We are going to allow you to do your exam so that all Kenyans across the country would know that they can do it without being registered. That's what I want to know.
And then on top of that, how many were unregistered?
Yes.
So that you settle this issue once and for all.
And then, and the ones that were rejected by the machine, you brought them to the marking centers and asked them to mark them manually.
Yes. Toroitich, I want us to finish the questions and then we just answer. Toroitich, you have withdrawn. Yes, you have withdrawn. Yes, let's have Honorable Nabi.
Yes, CS, you know, in the transition from class 7 to class 8 that did the last KCP, there's an accounted for 200,000. We have been asking ourselves, where did these 200,000 candidates come from?
Honorable Nabi. We just asked that question.
Yes.
So, do you have the figure?
No.
That's why we want them to answer. How many?
I have not finished my execution.
So you have the number?
Yes, from my own sources. So, CS, can you explain to us how this number, the variance of 200,000 came about? And then finally, CS, can you please tell me who is going to compensate these pupils who got wrong results and got psychologically tortured?
Chairman.
Let's be orderly. Honorable member for Kibra. Members, that question has been asked, I think, almost third, fourth time. Yes. I want you to straight away answer that, and questions that you aren't able to answer, kindly note them down and give us a written submission. Yes, on that note, kindly.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. To start with, from
question of psychological torture. That one is very important,
Yeah,
so that we end that.
That's when I will come to it with your permission, Chairperson. To start with the first question from my friend, Honorable Chair, is that there are issues which have been resolved, and we have said that we are not hiding anything. Really, when we find that the right mark was supposed to be this, we are able to give the right mark, like what we did for the case of Kakamega. Chairman, I'm seated here being an example. What happened to us in a class in Agoro Sara Form 6, you can imagine the year if Obara comes from that area, because that was my school in Form 6. My provisional result, if you see the result slip, and what is in the certificate is actually different. In the initial result, my grade, if I can be able to refer in the geography, was a principal D. At that time we had principles A, B, C, D, E, up to E. But later, when the teachers appeared, all of us, my final grade was a principal B in the geography. So this, you can imagine that was in the 70s. So even now, we have those few cases. And when people appeal, and we find genuinely there was some kind of human error or something, we are able to adjust. So there are cases where you can find, honestly, there is something which happened and adjustments are done on the right way. I did come out, honorable members, because this was the last cohort of KCPE 844. We do not want to rock anybody out, so no. Compared to the other year, was 177 candidates, and it was 13%, an increase of 13%. The normal increase normally is about 8%. The same question you are asking, we did ask, but I think because it was the last cohort, anybody who was out, anybody who thought he was going to be crossed out, was able to come and enroll as a candidate, and we did not want to rock anybody out. So we had 177,000, which was 13% increase. The 205 unregistered, when it came to my notice almost 2 weeks to the examination, I did make a public announcement, and I think it was covered in the media that anybody who was not registered, we have been able to create a room where we were able to accommodate these people, because I found if we never did so, the 205 Kenyans would not have had an opportunity to transition to the next level. And you know, the government policy is that we have to have 100% transition. My friend, Honorable, the trauma. One, actually the correct result is obtained from the school portal. What you get from the SMS, any parent, the provisional results where you get the result slip is the correct information. So in the school portal, we never issued and we never gave out information which was not correct. So what was obtained in the portal was actually the correct information. The honorable member for Narok, Honorable Rebecca Tungei, did ask about gender parity, and I think part of the SMS has been answered. And the Kabarak, I would like my peers to answer the gender parity, because what we had, we are almost at par. It's almost equal when you compare progress with the years, the way they have gone. But this year we had, I think, 48 female, and we had about 51 male, which was a small difference, unlike the other years. My peers will be able to explain on that, and also he will be able to give an explanation on the CEO about the Kaparak, because I think there is a discussion we had and they have the answers.
Thank you, Chair. On the issue of parity, I think parity, as we are all aware, parity, as you deal with it this year, as the CS mentioned, is that we had an additional 177,000 candidates 13% came into the system. Usually it's between 5.7 to 7% in terms of growth, which is almost reflective of our natural growth in terms of population. This year there was around an additional 8% of people who would have accumulatively been out there and have not taken an opportunity to register for examinations. So this 177,000 was not a natural population that would have been growing annually. And therefore, when they came in to take advantage of this last examination, it distorted the usual parity that has been there. What we have done is that we have isolated those counties which had a huge negative impact on the number of registered candidates in terms of female, male. And we had, I think, 12 counties, which shows a huge disparity. And our teams in quality assurance is trying to go into details so that we can also check on the age brackets and all other issues that may have come in with this increase from 8% annual growth to 13%, so that we can check and say, if this was a contributory factor, what was it? Is it from regions where the boy child may have been used? Let's take the pastoralist areas. Would it be areas that... So we are going into details to be able to check on these parities. On the issues of checking, I think the CEO will be the right person. But I would want to add, and it would be good for CEO to come out very clearly on this, that there was a candidate whose marks on the constructive area, which is the composition, the girl from Kakamega were 358 marks. When the composition mark, which I think the girl got 38 out of 40, was combined, then it took that girl to the new area. Meaning that there are genuine cases where when we deal with these genuine issues, there is an impact which sometimes, in most cases, it would be a positive impact. And I think the CEO should mention that particular case, including standardization and moderation, and the impact that it had on that particular girl, as he answers the question of Kabrak Primary School.
Thank you, Chair. On this issue of standardization, because I think that's what is creating a bit of anxiety, particularly with some schools. One, and that combines with a question that that came up with the member of Parliament around the marks, and maybe Chair, I could also defend myself and say I am very truthful, so I have no intentions of giving any untruthful information. What we report after marking KCPE is not the raw score of the candidate. When candidates sit for exams in school, what schools report back to them is the raw score. So even if you sat for that same paper, if I gave a candidate today the math paper or the science paper, and they finished sitting for the paper, the mark they will get is a raw score. Because this is a national exam, which we explained is norm referenced. And we say that norm reference, which is different from KCSE, which is criterion referenced. With norm referenced, you are comparing one candidate If you look at the table that we provided for you, you will see that the results are very consistent from 2016. The population of learners that got 400 and above in 2016